Well, Windows 10 starts to step into the picture and it starts to deliver applications in a very different way. So you're now going to get your applications from an app store, as opposed to from your IT person that would have been your assistant, and they would have had to have gotten a CD or media. You would have had to have installed it. You would have had to have recorded and captured that licensing that's behind it. Now from an app store, a lot of that's going to be driven based on your agreement with Microsoft and captured in a whole new way. That's very important because that also means there's going to be a lot of people like myself who are going to run out there and try and develop applications specifically for this marketplace and for this app store. Where are you going to do your development, or where am I going to do my development? The logical place is in the Azure platform, right? The logical place is in Microsoft's side of the fence. And so the growth within that whole environment is going to start to explode. Not only is the growth going to start to explode, but the need for enhancements to that infrastructure is absolutely imperative. And so Microsoft is preparing with things like ExpressRoute, right? And so aren't the other cloud providers that are out there. However, from a network perspective, we need to start to be able to control the quality of service over the public internet with this kind of workload. And so to do that, you're going to start to utilize ExpressRoute and the capabilities that come from Microsoft. So there's this whole new branch and this whole new arm that's starting to open up. And it's not just Microsoft, by the way. This express routing care capabilities, right? Express Connect to AWS, IBM, they're all getting this hotel carrier, if you will, kind of concept out of 1 or 2 or 3 locations across the country, where we can now have a private connection into these cloud-based resources. And that's awesome. It's an awesome factor for folks like me and you who support the large size enterprise, because they were taking that CRM traffic, they were taking that Azure workload and the Office 365 workload, and they were putting it through the public internet. They had no quality of service, no controls. Now using an ExpressRoute or other characteristics, we can start to add those controls into place. And it evolves.
With all that you've spoken to at this point, it truly sounds like Microsoft has headed or created a paradigm shift. Would you agree with that?
Totally. Completely. So it started off with BPOS, and it started off with Microsoft's launch of, the characteristics that we now call Office 365. And they took it slow and progressive, as opposed to a lot of their competitors who launched infrastructure as a service, right? Virtualization and infrastructure as a service. Microsoft focused on resiliency and redundancy, meaning the operating system itself has a level of resiliency to it. If a service shuts off, there's another service that starts it back up or looks why it's shut down. Or if it's what's commonly referred to as clustered, meaning it has another system that has a high availability equivalent to it, it would actually start running that workload in another space.
So why is Microsoft offering Windows 10 for free?
To transform this whole platform, right? So really at the end of the day, the goal is to move people away from having to manage their own licenses and move them into a more common streaming capability. Again, an app store, a marketplace, an area where even though you don't know a software exists that will help you to be more proficient in your job, instead of Googling it or instead of going online and Yahooing it or any of the others, you can actually search it within the App Store and find an application. So it allows developers like myself or other organizations who build an application for productivity reasons to now reach a much broader market without having to go through the intense marketing and the intense other characteristics that come with a go-to-market plan around an application.
Sounds like productivity has increased and efficiency certainly has increased.
Agreed, but we also have to be very careful, because if we haven't realized that our mobile devices also become a security infraction at the end of the day if not managed correctly.
Risk.
Right. There is a risk now to a wide open application marketplace. And I'm sure a lot of our IT teams are twitching in the background. They need to have the controls around that whole space. And again, developing within that whole Microsoft platform around the cloud, you'll know ahead of time what you have to do, as opposed to waiting until it's too late, right?